self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists. What's going on? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red.
And we are Conversation Con Artists, back at you with another episode.
Don't mind me. I have a bit of a cold, so I know I sound like Michel'le. I'm sorry.
Yep. But, you know, we still going to have the episode.
We are. It'll be fine. Don't have this up loud. You'll scare yourself to death.
I got to keep Red calm because it started getting weird if she get excited. We've done some tests.
It gets to be a whisper. So I've got to remain calm.
Yeah, that's the situation today. So what I need y'all to do is go check out the website, www.conversationconartists.com. Check out the links for our stories that we're talking about today, our current episode as well as older episodes. And you can leave us some feedback on the left side of the screen. Hover over that mail envelope, send us some feedback, subscribe to our newsletter, and move forward from there. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Mister_on point.
And I can be found at Red_Calamity. Also, we are still doing the listener letter portion of the show. So, if you have a question, I just sound so much like Minnie Mouse. If you have a question that you would like for us to answer on the show, you can send it in to the website or you can send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartists@gmail.com.
I can do my side of the show like Mickey Mouse if you want to.
No.
I can do that.
They don't have, you're going to give them some relief from me. We can't both be doing it.
I mean, just trying to help you feel better about the situation. I don't know.
But we have a question about what is rape culture. And this came about because a friend of mine was listening to a different podcast. Forgot to ask him the name of the podcast, but there was a sex therapist on the podcast that said she was talking about what she felt like rape culture was, and he was very confused because a lot of the stuff that she was saying is things that, like, he's done. Her whole thing was men talking about women and sex is rape culture. I don't agree with that. I feel like it depends on the topic of the conversation. Now, if a man is talking about a consensual sexual encounter he had with his boys or in the locker room or whatever, it's in bad taste, but it's not rape culture to me. The part that's important to me in rape culture is that it has to be the consent part. The consent is not there. Now, of course, it's in bad taste, like I said, but women do that. Like, women sit around and they talk about men, like, and sexual encounters with men. Is that rape culture too? Is it rape culture on both sides? Like, to me, that's not rape culture. What Donald Trump said is rape culture because he was talking about how he could get away with assaulting a woman based solely on the fact that he has money. So he can do it, and she didn't want it, but she's not going to do anything because he's Donald Trump. That's rape culture. That's a different conversation. But, like, talking about, you know, you and Susie over the weekend when y'all were together and it was consensual, again, bad taste, but not rape culture to me.
But I don't even think that women can talk about, I don't think women having the most extreme dialogue talking about sexualizing men is rape culture. I mean, they can have a conversation about taking it from him, and I don't think that would be rape culture because they are not perpetrators.
Well,
they are not exclude. I'm trying to say it wrong. The culture doesn't exist from the woman's side. There are isolated instances in which women do sexually assault men and rape men
in prisons. That happens a lot. People don't realize that, like, the female COs, that's happened before.
I mean, that happens, but it's isolated incidences. It's not a culture in which women do that, opposed to the culture upon which men do that. And culture just means a set of norms. That's all culture is. A set of norms that exist within a particular group. Your community has a culture. Your church has a culture. Your job has a culture, as opposed to other jobs like it. Everything has its own culture. That's just its own way of existing, its own set of rules. Rape culture means that the context for which rape exists, based on how men have, overtaken the women's body by force and have been allowed to do that, that's rape culture. That don't mean every man participate in rape culture. There are a group of men, a set of men that participate in rape culture. And so for me, rape culture is just the idea that our society allows women to be victimized and blamed, and it doesn't give men any accountability, as much accountability as they should have, and it doesn't protect women in those instances. That's rape culture. Rape culture means that when a woman goes to the police department to talk about a rape, they ask, what did she have on? Or what was she wearing?
Why were you there?
Why were you there? What did you say? It doesn't say, we need to find out who this perpetrator is. Any other thing, if it was murder, if it was assault, if it was robbery or theft, they always focus on the perpetrator who did this thing. But when it comes to sexual assault, it's always, what were you doing? What happened? And that's not to invalidate when it happens to men, but when it happens to men, it's not rape culture. It's not. It's a very small, isolated group of people doing that.
Yeah.
But when rape happens, it's mostly perpetrated by men. And the idea that it's just talking about sexual interaction, that's not rape culture.
No, and that's what because that was his concern. He was like, the way that she described it, every man in the world will have been guilty of this at some point. Even like men complimenting women when they're out. Like, when I dyed my hair red, I can't tell you how many men I would be walking around someone would be like, what up, red? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That ain't rape culture to me, because I have a choice in it. I can either ignore you, which is what the fuck I usually do, or I can come over and have a conversation with you. I never felt like endangered or anything like that when that happened. It was annoying. It's irritating. It's like, get the fuck away from me. But like, her description just made it seem like anything y'all do that has to do with us and sex is rape culture, and that's not what rape culture is. And it's a very dangerous, like, that's such a generalized viewpoint of it. But I told him it's like this. I feel like rape culture is like racism, in that people are gonna have different definitions. Like, if you ask somebody, like, you probably like had somebody say, let me tell you about this racist shit that happened, right? Mm-hmm. And then they tell you the story, and then you be like, what was racist about that? What the fuck are you talking about? That wasn't racist. I think that it's kind of like one of those things where everybody's perception of it might be a little different. But that is a very extreme viewpoint to me. Like, when he was telling me that, I was like, that ain't rape culture. Like, no.
Because in essence, what she is saying is that men are excluded from talking about sex at all. When sex is such a natural part of our inner beings, we have to have that dialogue with somebody. But I think you also consider that we get into a society where, hell, I learned most about sex from boys at school and porn.
Which is terrible.
Which are the inappropriate places to learn about those things, because my mama wouldn't talk about it. And so her ideas of that might be also rooted in her feeling like we shouldn't be talking about sex like that, and she's just applying rape culture to her own discomforts with those things.
But she's a sex therapist. That's scary. To go to a sex therapist who has her own like issues like that would be terrible. I can't imagine like the therapy that she does with people. She's supposed to be a certified sex therapist. I'm gonna have to ask him what podcast it was. He told me, but
it might be that she doesn't trust men to be able to have these kind of conversations in a way that doesn't lead into that. I think it might be rooted in her ideas that maybe she think that that's all men talk about, taking in and dominating and things that represent that. So I mean, I think we would have to explore her understandings of rape culture and men and what she think men talk about, because in her head she don't believe men can have a conversation about sex that don't include taking it from a woman or belittling or diminishing a woman. Like, two men can be talking about, you know, the sexual relationship they have with their wives or their girlfriends, you know what I'm saying, and it not represent rape culture, it not represent those dynamics. And so I think we have to understand a lot more about her to know what that is. But it's like you said, it's just her perspective is just so far different, you know, than the situation. But the danger in a viewpoint like that is so generalized is the same thing that's going on probably with Black Lives Matter. You have this generalized message that has people in it from such far extremes that it dilutes what you're really trying to accomplish. If you look at every man and say, well, every man participates in rape culture, you're not going to be able to distinguish the ones that will possibly rape you. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a man that's having a general conversation about sex with some dudes, and there's a dude talking about, like Donald Trump, saying that he's going to take it, you've got to create a dialogue that helps distinguish that Donald Trump from me. You can't say that we all the same. You know what I'm saying? And those are not the same. They not the same situations.
And a lot of athletes like came out pissed when Donald Trump said that. Even they were like, "That ain't no conversation that happened in any locker room." I mean, like, I think men can talk about women and talk about women and sex in a way that it's not rapey. Like, I don't think every conversation that men have about women and sex is about rape. Again, is it in poor taste? Sure. Should you be talking about what you did with Susie? Probably not. And Susie probably don't know that you telling your boys about everything. But that isn't rape culture.
You know what? I thought about that locker room comment. And you know what? Locker rooms don't only exist in the context of sports. When you go to your workout room or your spa or wherever you go, there's locker rooms. There's room with lockers that you put your stuff in. And so I think the locker room comment is legitimate. I just think it represents a wealthy 59-year-old wrinkled white man locker room. That's all that is. Like, it's not every locker room.
Has he ever even been in a locker room? Like, he don't
had
look
to
like
have
he
been.
work out. He don't look like he plays
I'm
sports.
gonna tell you like this. He done built a lot of buildings in a lot of places. He done been in locker rooms, whether it's just touring or not. You know, but I just assume Donald Trump have a group of old dudes that they go into a sauna or they go into a locker room or they go somewhere and they wrap up in towels just so they can talk business or politics or, you know, about inappropriate acts with women. So I think the locker room comment is legit. I just think we got to consider what kind of locker rooms Donald Trump has likely been in, and we have to recognize that I don't think it represents every locker room. But athletes should get mad because most people are thinking about the locker rooms that athletes have, which I've been in and which a whole bunch of athletes in. It's stupid.
Pretty much.
So them generalizations really mess stuff up. You really have to specify, you know, what's going on and what group you're targeting it in, so you can be able to isolate what that actually is. And I think that's one of the problems that's coming along with our society now. It's just everything want to be generalized. Everybody want to put stuff in a group of black or white. We don't live in a world of black or white. We live in a world of gray. And there's some dark ass grays close to black and there's some white ass grays close to white. But at the end of the day, everything is gray. And we need to look for the gray, not the damn black and white. You know. Anything else about rape culture?
I think pretty much sums it up. I think it's good that we can have conversations like this. I mean, he like texted me and was like, "Hey, I need to ask you something about rape culture," because he was really concerned that maybe he was perpetuating it and didn't know it. So just the fact that he was cognizant of it, I guess it's good. And I think conversations like this need to be had where people sit down and say, "Hey, you know, this is what I feel about this. This is what I think about this." So,
well, let me finna do this off the top of the head real quick, but let me think of a what creates rape culture for dudes, at least when it comes to dialogue. Because there's a strong idea going around a lot of men that when a woman say no, that means yes. So that means keep going, And I've heard women buy into that too, sometimes. But that is rape culture.
It is.
If one of your boys is talking about that, I don't know if you're going to want to go social justice warrior on him and be like, bro, you are participating in rape culture. I cannot stand for it. The truth of the matter is, we're not going to be able to do that. Okay? But what you can do is educate that dude about, hey, man, you know that shit Nate Parker done went through. You know what I'm saying? So if the girl say no, you probably want to let that shit go, bro.
And if she can't say yes, or she can't say no, then she can't say yes either. Like a non-answer, just take that as a no. It's like if she's so intoxicated, or if she's so whatever the fuck that she can't respond, that's a no. Like, if she can't say no, she can't say yes, just take it as a no and move on. Like, don't get caught up in that kind of a situation.
See, me personally, I don't get why you just, as a dude, just want to stick your dick in something that can't even say okay, that can't possibly really enjoy it, that's probably on the verge about to throw up. You might as well go to Plenty of Fish, look for one of them profiles that say massage therapist and got a picture of her ass on the sink and just pay that money. Because that will keep you out of a shitload more trouble than having sex with an intoxicated girl that couldn't even give consent. I don't get it. I'm not that deep into my masculinity and my ego and my pride. I feel like I need to dominate a woman, or that I have to conquer that woman sexually.
But you're not even dominating her. Like, that's like shooting fish in a barrel type shit. Like, she's just laying there. It's not a domination. I don't
even mean dominating her. I mean dominating women. Like, like conquering.
Oh, yeah.
Like they say, notches on the belt type situation. Yeah. Like, it's certain situations where a notch on that belt can get you some time in jail. It's certain situations. That's probably the best case scenario. Because I know some women that if that happened to them, you're going to die and never be found again, because her brothers or her uncles or her daddies will come for that ass. You know what I'm saying?
I watch a lot of ID channel. Get rid of a fucking body if I need to. You'll be ghost.
So I don't get that part. But if your boys is talking about some way to take it, some way to, have sex without her consent, or all girls want you to kind of take it a little bit. No, that's the kind of part of the conversation that's getting into rape culture. When it start being about not respecting that woman's bodies, not respecting her decisions, and not giving her an opportunity to say yes. When you're talking about having sex because you want to have sex and not because you both want to have sex, then you got a situation. So just be wary of how that conversation goes from other dudes. Now, at the end of the day, you can only control your part of the dialogue. But if you got somebody that's talking like that constantly, distance yourself from that kind of dialogue with them, because you are enabling that person to participate in it. Because if you find out that, you've been just egging them on and saying, oh yeah, but then they get a rape charge on them, you helped create that situation vicariously. It ain't your fault. You ain't to blame, but you at least didn't do anything to keep that person from getting to that level, because everybody in their environment told them that it's okay. And I mean, I've had to do that before. I tell people in a jokingly silly way, dudes who I'm not finna get social justice warrior on, and just be like, look, if you can get fucked up out there like that, you know that, right? I just want to make sure if it don't come from nobody else in your life, I'm going to tell you that if a girl think you raped her, that's all that matter. It don't matter what you believe you did or not.
Yep.
If she go to people after the fact and said she didn't say no, or she didn't say yes and she said no, you in trouble. If she said yes and decide that she don't like you for some reason the next day, she can go and do the same thing. So for me, when you have sex, you need to be certain that it is a person that you trust. It's a person that you want to carry on. You trust and believe will, not do something like that. And also, you don't need to treat them like shit. Because that's a part of it. You need to treat them like a damn person.
Because that's what we are. We're people.
Yeah, like that's what misogyny is. I mean, and the history of our country comes from a place where women were treated as property. You know, women were invalidated. Their decisions, their bodies, nothing belonged to them. It all belonged to men. And so we still have the residual effects left of that history, and that's what has this still existing. You know, and it's kind of like slow money is better than no money. So the progress that we have, and where there are groups that represent women, whether it's feminist or womanist, then I just think it represents a lot of progress, but it still ain't moved far enough. The same way with racism.
What the hell is a womanist?
So, you know, feminism don't really represent. When feminism really started, like in the 70s, it didn't represent black women.
Oh.
It really represented the struggles of white women.
I can believe that. Yeah.
White, like it was just because it was a racially tense time. Like feminists didn't invite black women and their problems in there, plus the extra layer of being black in that. And so black women created the womanist movement.
Oh, okay.
And so when you look up feminists, that's white women stuff. Womanist is black women stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so it just distinguishes the different types of issues that they have.
I learned something new.
Yeah, it's a lot. But it was necessary.
I can completely understand
it's necessary
why.
because they didn't, you know.
Yeah.
But
so
and it's crazy because white women benefited more from affirmative action than any other group in America. And that's, I think, where they started discovering that feminists wasn't really trying to help black women because, hey, we moving up. Forget them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you got it's kind of like on movies when you see that dynamic where you got like partners, 2 or 3 partners doing something, and one of them start moving up real fast, and they be like, "Well, fuck y'all." I mean, I needed y'all at first, but you know now it's all good. You know, I imagine it's that kind of dynamic, but it's crazy.
So hopefully that answered that. What our opinion? Because again, rape culture is like one of those things where if you ask 20 people, you probably gonna get 20 different responses as to what their definition of it is. So hopefully that gave you a little insight. And again, if you have a question that you would like for us to answer when I actually have a voice, you can send it in to the website, or you can send it in to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartists@gmail.com.
My first story, which I'm gonna go on and get out there, goes into rape culture. Derrick Rose was acquitted of rape. You know, he had this case going on in which he said the sex was consensual. She said it was not. And he got acquitted. He's good. After the trial, the jury wanted to take pictures with him. So they had a photo op after that. That goes into rape culture.
That's so inappropriate.
Now, the thing is, he was acquitted. You know, so.
But he was acquitted because of them. And then they're taking
That's what I'm
pictures of
saying.
him.
He was acquitted. So technically, he didn't do anything. But it's in the same sense that the court said that Nate Parker didn't do anything, but something happened. And I think that it's kind of disrespectful to the other side and to show that. And that's where rape culture comes in. It just doesn't take the victim into consideration. It doesn't take the idea that this could be affecting this person in a horrible way, you know, to, okay, he's acquitted, she's crying, and they said, hey, can we get some pictures with you?
Because in my mind, that's going to make me feel like, oh, okay, so y'all acquitted him because you fans, because you're his fans. And so it didn't have anything to do with the fact that you didn't think he raped me. It has everything to do with that he's Derrick Rose and y'all are fans. It's in that y'all all wanted to take pictures and shit. Like, what the fuck?
And that, like, those are the fine lines of walking with rape culture. Like, it's not, and that ain't Derrick Rose's fault, but all of those jurors, they didn't even think that, hey, this woman can be going through some kind of trauma right now. She could really be experiencing a bad time. You know, it's not appropriate for us to get pictures of Derrick Rose right now. But
I'd have lost my mind. If I had been her, I would have been like, you bitches. I would have made such a scene. If I walk out and y'all are taking pictures, Oh, really? Oh, okay. I would have just tore that courtroom up. It would have been so bad. Good for her for not doing that, because I would have fucked everybody in there. They would have had to call the guards, like, come get her.
Call the pole.
Because I would have fucked everybody I could before they got to me up. That's crazy. It's so disrespectful. Y'all go just take pictures with this one? Like, that, I can't even imagine how I would have felt. I would have had to fuck up somebody. It wasn't even been fucking him up. I had to fucked up as many of them jurors I could have got to before the fucking guards got to me. Like, really?
And it showed Derrick Rose just smiling and stuff like.
Well, why wouldn't he be smiling?
Well,
He just gotta quit it.
clearly he is happy that he
Hell
gotta quit it. But
it's just so
I don't know. I guess the kind of person that wouldn't do that. I'm thinking he could have been a little bit more empathetic, but then I imagine that somebody who would be empathetic after that wouldn't even be the kind of person that would do some shit to get them in this situation anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's probably fitting that he wasn't empathetic and that he was all smiley and shit because he didn't believe he did something.
But that's the same way with like how people's problem with Nate Parker is how apathetic he has been. Like, and that's part of why people got pissed and didn't want to go see the movie because of them interviews he gave in which he was just like, I ain't do nothing. I ain't got nothing to do with it. No, I'm not sorry.
And it's crazy because he has distanced himself cognitively from the situation just because a court told him that we don't find you guilty of things. Yeah. That's the only reason. You know, like I said before, maybe you didn't rape somebody if you didn't. You know, maybe it legitimately wasn't rape. You know, but there are way too many lines that were crossed into getting to a situation where it can be perceived as such.
I'm sorry, you said maybe it legitimately wasn't rape, and it just made me think about legitimate rape that the Republicans were trying to push this last election, where they were like, if you were legitimately raped, your body shuts down, and so actual rapes don't result in pregnancy. That just made me go back to that. Was so fucking ridiculous.
Where did that even come from?
Some Republican, I can't remember who it was.
I don't want to hear it from a politician. If it didn't come from a scientist.
It came from a doctor. But this is a doctor who has lost his license and who the medical community does not even acknowledge anymore. So he did get it from a doctor. There was a doctor that said that there were things in place, apparently, that somehow knew when a woman was in trouble. And so her reproductive organs essentially lock it down. And so if you're legitimately raped, a baby you won't get pregnant. So if you're pregnant, you weren't raped, is essentially what they were trying to say. And they were calling it legitimate rape. I can't remember which part. I know it was a Republican. I just can't remember his name right off.
I don't understand. Because what if you... So what did that mean when you don't get pregnant but you get raped?
Well, if you don't get pregnant then you are raped.
So if you get pregnant, you weren't raped.
Yeah, basically.
I think they believe that, you know, if you don't want to have sex, then you're not going to lubricate, and then it's not going to happen, and yada yada blah blah blah. And so I think that's the root of why they believe that. If you can get raped, like if a man can put his penis in you, then you somehow, in some kind of way, desired it.
It was Todd Atkins. That was the guy's name. It was in 2012.
Todd who?
Atkins, a Republican. Yeah. He said that he was from Missouri. Pregnancy rarely occurs as a result of what he called legitimate rape. He said their body shuts that whole thing down if they're like raped.
He's not smart.
And so they wouldn't get pregnant. Todd Atkins was his name. And I forgot what his doctor friend that he got it from.
He is not a smart politician.
Hell, a lot of Republicans aren't. No shade, but they're not.
So, since we started with rape culture, and I got a couple of rape culture things, I'm going to go into the next one, which is basically just triggers. So me and Red are both therapists, counselors, whatever you want to, whatever term you like the best to refer to that group of people. And, you know, we work with people that have traumas, that have experienced things, and triggers exist under any mental illness, under any trauma. They are things that really make you remember shit.
So it could triggers, be smells, it could be a sound.
Yeah, and it don't mean, it ain't always bad.
Yeah.
We all have triggers. Like, when I play Mega Man 10, which I played a lot for a span of like 3 years in my younger days, I can remember things that was going on. I can remember how my living room looked. I can remember, it connects you to a nostalgic time in your life in which you connected to. That's a trigger. So when people experience trauma, negative triggers pop up. Like, anytime you get in a car on the interstate and a 18-wheeler get next to you, you have an anxiety or panic attack because you had a car wreck when you were young on the interstate where the 18-wheeler was involved. You know? Or you could have been raped and the man had a leather jacket on and all you remember is fighting that leather jacket. And so leather, you don't like touching leather. Like, it can be anything. It's an endless number of things that can be triggers. And so I'm really discouraged by the group of people that exist that invalidate triggers and that say, you know, that don't, because a lot of people have started using like trigger warning and letting you know that we finna have a serious conversation about some stuff that might make you feel a certain type of way. But there's a whole genre of people that don't believe that that's necessary. They believe that, you know, it's just a over sensitized culture and people are getting too sensitive and all of these things. But I mean, I just want to let people know that triggers exist. Now, I don't know if we got to go as far enough as safe spaces. You know, I mean, as far as like some of these universities are creating places for black people to be.
It's segregation.
You know, and I don't think we need to go that far because even as therapists, what we are trying to do is get you back to equilibrium, put you back in the middle of the world and allow you to handle the world as it exists, not to isolate yourself from that world in a way that, you know, you can always get away, because you can't always get away. But you need to know and understand how to exist in that world. So I don't know if I'll go as far as to say safe spaces are some place that you have to be exclusively away from everybody. I mean, I guess if a safe space is a place that you have access to, then that's different.
I'm thinking about my college years. I would never have I didn't even go to a HBCU. I would never have wanted to just live where it was just black people and everything was ran just by black. For what? Because the real world is not going to operate that way. When those kids leave college and they go into the workforce, more than likely that is not what the climate of their office is going to look like. It's just not.
Yeah.
That's not realistic. You're setting up a false sense of security because college is already an incubator kind of a situation. That's what I tell people that come for couples counseling that may still be in college. You're in a very incubator situation. You can see your significant other in between. That's all you have is school for the most part. And so it's not realistic. It's not going to account for when you get out and you have a job, he has a job, you got bills to pay and budgeting to do. And so the relationship changes because you're out of the incubator. Doing that whole safe spaces thing to me is an incubator. When you get out of that, you're not going to be prepared to survive in a world, because very rarely you're going to be a black person in America and go somewhere where it's just people who look like you. That's not the reality of it. And that's not how it works. So I wouldn't have even wanted to live like that, because when I got out, my first job, I was one of 3 black people. It's not the same. That's where you live, where you work. It's probably not going to look like that. It's an incubator.
And I mean, I get the existence of safe spaces, but it's not conducive to coming back to your equilibrium, to the space where you need to be. unless you're certain that you can maintain and carry on a life in that environment.
It's very hard to do that.
Yeah. So I understand them existing, but at a certain point, they should be something that you don't need, you know? But I don't know. And so if you haven't really heard anything from these people who constantly invalidate people that have these traumas and these experiences and may be triggered by things, then you're going to hear about them. They coming. You know?
And it's so, because like you said, triggers don't have to be negative things. And I feel like everybody has experienced that. Like, I've been somewhere before and smelled the smell that reminded me of kindergarten. Like what my kindergarten classroom smelled like. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even, so if you know that it exists in a positive way, I don't understand why you have trouble understanding how it could exist in a negative way, right? Like, some women like that have been raped cologne. They can't stand a certain kind of cologne because that's the kind of cologne their rapist had on. Or maybe something he had eaten prior to. Like, it's crazy how our brain creates these memories tied to certain things. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even have to be something big. Like, it could be really small things that bring you back to a place that you don't want to be. Triggers are real things.
They are real. And I think that their denial of those kind of things are just rooted in the content of why. Like, it's because they don't believe that rape culture exists. And so when you talk about triggers referring to rape culture or rape, I think that idea takes precedent over the idea that triggers might exist. I don't even think they're thinking that far, you know what I'm saying, ahead. I just think that they're adamantly against that thing that trigger is supposed to be for, you know. And it's crazy because one day these dudes are going to experience, it's mostly dudes, but one day they're going to experience their daughter or their mama or somebody in their life experiencing something that they're going to have to see affects them in order for them to understand that, you know, it exists. It just sucks that they don't give people the benefit of the doubt now. I just think this whole cry for everybody being so overly sensitive in America is because it's challenging that old system. It's challenging misogyny, which benefits men. And it's challenging the racism, institutional racism that benefits white people. You know, and those things they're being challenged. And so there are a lot of people that's going to kick back. There are a lot of people that's in denial. There are a lot of people that don't know it exists. It's a lot of people that know it exists, but they're going to fight back because it's challenging what I got. You know, and I think that's what it's rooted in. All of these different changes are challenging these old systems that give some group some kind of advantage. And who wants to give up power for real? Nobody want to give up power.
Yeah.
But that's all I got with the rape culture stuff. So you can go ahead with something else.
Y'all been giving Meek Mill shit again. There was like this picture of him with a man bag. It was like a messenger bag, but I think it was like a Louis bag. Mm-hmm. And so of course people made memes about how you finally get your life together and you want to stunt on these hoes. He cannot win. Like, after that whole Drake thing.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's winning.
Because of Nicki?
Yes.
What happens when she wakes up and she's like, you know what? I'm kind of over this. Then what?
She should have been no woke up to me.
You're right.
If she hadn't woke up by all this shit, I feel like if Meek Mill just sit down in a room and be quiet the rest of his life and live off of their money, he'll be okay. If she hadn't called it quits at this point, she under some kind of spell. I don't know. Or maybe the bar is so low of dudes that she done fucked with in her life that maybe Meek Mills is a decent dude in a relationship.
That makes me really sad for her. If that bar is that, because let me tell you, some Meek Mills.
Listen, we don't know how Meek Mill's personal social life is as far as it pertains to relationships. We don't know. Okay,
we don't know for sure. But the clues that I have from the other areas of his life do not make me confident that he would be great in a relationship.
All that we know about Meek Mill is that he have problems with dudes.
And he's sensitive and he gets in his feelings really easily.
As it pertains to dudes.
If he does it with dudes, why wouldn't he do it with females? Dudes are the ones that men normally wouldn't want to be that way in front of. Men don't normally get in their feelings in front of dudes. They just don't. The fact that he is doing it in front of other guys make me feel like he do that shit in front of her too. Why wouldn't he?
It might benefit it for her.
What? No. Who? I don't
listen,
want no
listen. But I'm saying, you don't want the same dude that'll throw a dude on the ground and bust his head in the living room.
Well, that's true.
You do want a more rationally sensitive version of that dude when y'all in the damn bedroom.
Well, yeah, but I just feel like Meek would be that kind of person who would be like I would get up, I would go to work. About 12 o'clock, I would start receiving text messages like, "Oh, you can't tell a nigga good morning? Oh, so you just ain't like." I just feel like he would require a lot of attention. Like he got mad at her when she left, when he was on house arrest and he couldn't go nowhere. I'm not finna fucking sit in the house with you. You did that stupid shit. I'll come visit. I'm not finna live with you for the entirety of your fucking house arrest. I'm sorry. I got shit to do. I'm not finna do that. Like, I just feel like he's sensitive all across the board, which does not go with his whole battle rap persona at all. And I think that's why people give him so much shit, because you come from battle rap. Yeah, here you are, being sensitive with Drake, being sensitive with fucking the game, just being sensitive overall. And I don't think people expect Drake to be sensitive. Nobody expected Meek Mill to be this really, really sensitive guy who easily gets his feelings hurt. Like, he just, I don't know.
I mean, I think all the stuff that he been going at plays into disrespect. That irrational sense of disrespect that make you feel like you got to respond to something. But even if that's the case, even if he is, what I'm saying is, I guess that caters to whatever Nicki Minaj needs, because she been there for too long. It's been too long for this relationship. Celebrity relationships don't last this long. This is getting over into we finna have a baby. That's the time frame that it's getting into. It's getting into Nicki Minaj is pregnant in the news headline.
I hope that doesn't happen for her sake.
I don't know.
Then you will be tied to this man for 18 years.
I hope it do.
You hope that for Meek, not for her.
No, I don't even hope it for Meek.
Why do you want to?
Because I hope she would have let his ass go long ago. She need to learn this 18-year lesson. She need to learn that shit. Or Meek Mill's just a good dude. I wonder if he got kids.
He has a son, or he has one child.
Meek Mill's gonna be like, "Gotcha, bitch."
Like Dave Chappelle and Oprah. I could totally see that. Speaking of deadbeat daddies, Angela Simmons and Sutton Tennyson. I fucking hate his name.
Sutton Tennyson.
That's his name. Did a feature in People magazine with their new baby, who is a junior. So this poor child's name is Sutton as well. And her baby daddy, or her fiance, I think they're engaged, had on this sweater with a fur collar that looked like some shit P. Diddy would have had on in like 1999. Like that shit, they don't look happy. Like, the body language was completely off. Like, I don't even know where I think he loosely had an arm around her, and she was like stiff as shit. Like she just ain't used to having his hand on her. Some shit. Like, it just looked.
I see in that situation that Nicki Minaj finna be in.
Yes, exactly. Where she realized too late that she fucked up, and now she got this baby. I also didn't like the nursery. Like, I don't know why people. Like, it's one thing to decorate your house in, like, these cool tones or whatever, if that's what I just don't feel like that's what a baby's room should look like. Like, the baby's room just looked real sterile. It didn't look like a baby's room. It didn't look fun, like how I would imagine. Like, my kid gonna have all kind of random shit in their room. Like, until they can be old enough to decide the stuff they like. It's gonna be shit I like or that I liked when I was little. So it just looked very sterile. Like it was all these cool tone blues and shit. Like, I don't know, it just didn't look like a baby's room to me, but she looked unhappy as shit. And he like a scam artist, like of all the men she had access to. I get so mad when bitches do this shit. You have access to so many different dudes that are doing well for themselves, and you end up with this man who nobody even knows if he actually has a job. Like, what the fuck? Angela? At least your sister got a Wayans. He gonna always have money, cause it's like a million of them doing shit. At least she got knocked up by a Wayans. I feel bad. I feel bad for her.
Feel bad. She made her own damn decision. She got a rich ass family, rich ass daddy. She had all the tools that she needed to find some good ass dudes. She could have been like, Daddy, find me a good ass dude. Sister, find me a good ass dude. Mama, find me a good ass dude. Everybody, find me a good ass dude.
Uncles.
She went to behind Pizza Hut trash dumpster and said, "Hey, employee taking out the trash, find me a dude, please." Like, what the fuck is that about?
They don't look happy. He don't even look happy. He looked like she invited him over and was like, "Come over." And then he got there and was like, "What the fuck are these cameras for?" Like, he just looked like he wasn't prepared to be in pictures. And that sweater irked the fuck out of me. Like,
what sweater?
The sweater with the fur line. Yes.
That damn fucking squirrel skin ass shit.
It looked terrible.
If I was a photographer, I'd been like, if y'all motherfucking asses don't touch or smile or goddamn something, this is my reputation on the line. Motherfuckers gonna think I'm taking some fucking morbid ass, angry, sad ass pictures. If y'all don't get y'all family shit together right now, I don't give a fuck if y'all wasn't a family before this. I don't give a fuck if y'all ain't a family after this. But for these motherfucking 30 minutes to an hour photo shoot, y'all finna be a fucking family. Take that leather coat, take that stupid ass fur coat shit off, man.
That shit looks so stupid. And like,
that's what I would have said.
They were dressed for two different climates, because she had on like a negligee with a fucking robe over it, and then he got on fur. Like, is it cold? Is it hot? Is this
I'm sure it's really cold in New York in general.
But they're inside.
You're right. They could have planned for some different shit inside.
Or at least match a little closer. Like, she looked like she ready to go to the South Beach and shit. And he looked like he on his way to Alaska. Like, they were just not. They didn't match outfit wise. They don't match look wise. They just didn't look happy.
I got something to say that comes from this dialogue, but it's unrelated and probably unpopular opinion.
Oh God.
And it's rooted in my own personal experiences.
Okay.
I'm a junior.
Oh.
I'm not naming my kids after me. I don't think people should name their kids after them. I know if there's a long lineage of that name, then maybe there's something. Or maybe if you got some strong ass inheritance to take in and you being named after that person, maybe, so based on your family. But for me personally, it makes you feel like you have to live up to your father's successes, or you have to absorb your father's losses. Just like when you see that shit in movies and on TV, like, if you got a real successful dad, you got a son that's expected to live up to his name.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen. Yeah. And sometimes if you got a dad that's like a criminal and you got that same name, then they know you're branded with that. You're branded with your father's shit when you're a junior. Yeah. I don't like that. I mean, I don't have a particularly strong relationship with my daddy. People come up to me and say, "You slim, kid, ain't you?" Which means to me that they was a part of his life at the time when some bullshit was going on. But like, it brands you, and I don't want my children to have that brand of name. And I will even go so far as to say, if you ain't married, you need to give your kid your last name, ladies. Like, I know dudes ain't gonna like that shit.
Hell no.
But if you're not ready to be there for a child for the duration of that child's life and really genuinely be a part of it, that your last name ain't worth a shit for that child to have it. Your name ain't worth enough for that child to have to carry it on.
Pretty much.
That last name ain't shit but baggage if you're not going to be a part of that child's life. I don't even like that. I don't like that. I don't like hearing. I mean, and I understand if it was a relationship that was promising at the beginning and at some point it went down, but it's women who have like 1-year-olds who got the different last name because they took the last name of their dad. Like that. I don't know. I
think she's gonna regret it. I just don't. They're not gonna last. I don't see that they're gonna last. And then her kid is gonna have this man's name for the whole rest of his life.
No, she's leveraged into this shit lasting because she the one that got everything.
Yeah,
she gonna lose so much shit. I want half of the company. I want everything.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, my brother had a set of twin boys. And he named one of them Junior. And I was like, so how you gonna explain to the other twin how you decided which one of them was gonna get to be your Junior? You know? Like, I just feel like he had girls up until that point. So I get you were just waiting to get somebody with your name. But then at the point where you had twins, you gotta let that shit go. You don't get to do that now. But his
that's how you create that Luke Cage bullshit that went on in the show. I ain't gonna say nothing else about that just in case you ain't seen it though.
Cause you know how you hate spoilers.
I hate spoilers. I don't do spoilers. I don't give you spoilers.
Other name is so far. Like their name is Michael Jr. and Xavier. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how he gonna explain to Xavier why he didn't get to be Junior. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think he has a favorite between the twins. Like he thinks one of them is gonna be like a model, and they're not identical twins. They're fraternal twins. So
please tell me it's not Junior.
I can't remember. I think it is Junior.
Oh shit.
That he favors. So that's just gonna create a whole lot of problems. And I told him, like, why would you name, like, you can't, you just missed out on the Junior train. You got twins. You can't do that. Because one of them is going to feel some kind of way about it. Like, you can't do that to him. He still did it because he grown. And they, you know, grown people do what they want to. But they have some sibling rivalry going on between them now because of that.
So, let me tell you what kind of thing happens when you're a woman that is leveraged into a relationship with a man because you got shit.
And he ain't got shit.
Mary J. Blige and Kendu Isaacs is about to get a divorce. And Mary J. Blige has been getting roasted on social media because of what this man done requested. Now, he probably gonna get all of that shit.
Yeah.
Because that's what spousal support do.
Yeah.
If you provided a particular type of lifestyle for your mate, then when you divorce, you got to help him maintain that lifestyle, or her in most cases. And the first thing I want to say is that it's a lot of men out here talking about some women was all right when Kobe, you know, wife wanted this money in the divorce settlement. Women was all right when, you know, Michael Jordan wife got all that money. Y'all need to be all right, and Mary J. Blige need to cut that check. Why? Clearly that's going to be the case. But motherfuckers need to put their sensitive ass selves out there when shit like this happen. Like, just being so overly involved in that black and white comparison, the dichotomy. Like, he gonna get the money. You know what I'm saying? Why you gotta put that extra shit out there? You know what I'm saying? Like, calm the fuck down. All of them situations were way different. Them other dudes has been cheating like hell. Now, I don't know if Mary J. Blige is cheating or not. You know what I'm saying? But all of those situations are different. Too different to be comparing and contrasting and shit.
They've had like rumors going on that, I don't know if it was him cheating. They've had a rocky marriage. It hasn't been perfect. Mary J. and him.
Well, whatever it is. Maybe she have cheated. I don't know. But let me tell you what comes along with that. I'm going to tell you his list of $130,000 a month and how this list break down. $1,000 for clothing, $3,200 for a personal trainer, $5,000 per month for child support, $5,000 a month for his parents, $7,000 a month in rent, $8,000 for a private chef, $21,677 for charities, and $71,000 for mortgages on several properties. Additional costs for legal fees. Mind you, that $5,000 per month for child support was for his children, not the children they have together.
And what the fuck is he talking about charities?
I don't know.
What he get money for charities for?
Probably his own damn charities. Probably some shit he created.
Wow. See,
that's what happened.
That's why you don't marry way below where you at. Cause that shit happens. That's why you don't do that.
And you know what? Just because that list is $130,000, big and extensive, because it's Mary J. Blige, women that got a job and that's doing well and got your own place, and you with a man that ain't shit, don't think your Toyota won't get took by his ass. You know what I'm saying? Don't think you ain't gonna have to fight for that space you got. It ain't gotta be Mary J. Blige type money. Yeah. If you with somebody that ain't got shit and you got shit, you can lose shit.
Yep. Don't be out here marrying way below. That's what Angela about to do, is marrying way below. Unfortunately. Sadly enough. Can't be doing this shit. So Kanye mad.
Kanye mad. Kanye always mad. When does Kanye not mad about some shit?
This is true. He went on a rant at a concert prior to doing a song talking about it ain't gonna never be a Watch the Throne 2. And talk about how him and Jay-Z daughters ain't never played together. So he butthurt at Jay-Z for some reason. I don't know why. But here's the thing. I probably wouldn't let my kid play with North Nina. And not because I think North is a bad child, but because North got a ain't shit mama. And if I'm raising my child to be a little girl and dress like a little girl and do little girl things, I am not going to send her to play with a child whose mother is dressing her in bikinis and see-through tops. I'm just not. I'm not faulting the child, but I'm probably not. And I've always gotten the feeling that Beyonce was not here for Kim. So it may not even just be Jay-Z alone. Beyonce might be like, hell no, she ain't going over there to play with North. You done lost your mind. But even if you are upset about this, why are you spreading your business out at a concert with your fans? Like, why isn't this something you wouldn't just take up with Jay-Z? Y'all supposed to be cool. Why wouldn't you just be like, hey man, we ain't had no play date. Fuck is going on? Instead of getting and doing and airing all of this out at a fucking concert.
Because that would be relatively normal. And we all know that Kanye West live in the land of magical unicorns, top hats, monocles, rainbows, leprechauns, all that shit. And he don't do normal.
He doesn't.
He do extravagant.
He does.
He do irrationally extravagant. That's what he do. And that's what he doing.
But I feel like this. You pick your mate, right? You pick the person that you gonna be with. You can't make people like that person just because you like them. And you can't make people want to hang around that person just because you like them. So I feel like I could still be friends with somebody and not be fond of their spouse, because this happened before. I have had friends that married people that I was like, you stupid as fuck for this, but all right, girl, do you. I ain't gotta hang around him. I don't. That's your choice. You decided to do that. Okay. But I'm not going to be around him just because that was your decision to make. But I'm also not going to get upset that my friend is spending time with her husband, because that's why she married the nigga. So, okay. Right? But Kanye, if you decide you want to marry Kim, you can't think that she going to be able to just get in with you everywhere just because you cool with certain people. And I really feel like that's the main reason. I feel like that, and I feel like because Kanye lives in this magical world of unicorns and top hats and monocles, that it get to be a lot. And maybe we were able to be friends prior to your departure from reality, but right now you a lot to take. I don't want to be around you. Sorry.
And I wonder if it's like, have Kanye reached out to Jay-Z and Beyonce to get some play dates together, and they just never like they curving his ass, or you know, has he not even reached out, but him in his narcissistic mind and expected them to be like, hey, let's have our children play with your children because she's amazing and awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, context matters, but you know what? For Kanye, context don't matter.
No, you know? It really don't. It really don't.
And you know what? I'm just inclined to believe that Jay-Z don't give a shit about shit. Jay-Z just sit back making money and just be like, Kanye gonna be Kanye. I don't care. No response. Jay-Z ain't never responded to no bullshit. Mm-hmm. Go find me some shit that Jay-Z done responded to outside of his early rap career. Yeah. You know, early rap career, people early in their rap career, they always respond to beefing and people going at them. But, you know, rich, grown man shit Jay-Z, he ain't got time for your shit.
He really
got on his suit and tie. Just Timberlake.
He might be on the way to get in his last meal with the Obamas before they leave the White House. Even that shows you the difference in the lifestyles they lead. I could never see Michelle and Obama breaking bread with Kanye and Kim. Yet they are very close with Beyonce and Jay-Z. Like, that just is an example of the very separate lifestyles that they are out here living. And so maybe y'all just can't be as close as you were before. People grow in different directions. But the fact that you are airing this out at a concert, that ain't gonna make me run over and be like, yo, let's get Blue and North together. That's gonna make me be like, I was fucking right about you. This is exactly why we don't hang out. Cause they're pretty private people outside of Lemonade. And I just feel like anything that happened, Kanye would do a whole fucking interview about that play date. I really do. And I'm not gonna take that chance. So no, hell no, they can't get together with you attention whores. We good. No thanks. Mm-mm. I don't know.
Yeah. Man, you gotta be careful with your kids, man.
You do.
I really don't think it'll be a problem if, like, I mean, they're at a young enough age now where if you just put them in a room and let them play, then it'll be fine, you know. But Blue don't need to go over there and be watched by him. You know what I'm saying? Like, type situation, but I don't know. But it's just like, I need more context. I need to know if they've been curving his ass or if, you know, he just magically think that what he want to happen in his head is supposed to automatically happen, and when it don't, he be on this motherfucking rant shit.
I'm more inclined to believe it's the latter and not the former.
Perhaps.
But maybe not. I don't know.
There is a petition out to include Judge Clarence Thomas in the new African American Museum. He's not included in the museum. The only time he's included is talking about Anita Hill's deposition, where she was talking about him, you know, sexually, whatever he did, sexually harassing her or whatever.
Misconduct.
Yeah. So this brings up a very, very valid dialogue, I think. Because when you talk about Thomas Sowell, however you say his name, and Clarence Thomas, you're talking about black people that have had dialogue and made decisions that have negatively impacted black people, but they are still a part of African American history. So are those people that you involve in that museum, or are those people that you selectively take out of it because of the impact that they've made?
Is Bill Cosby in it?
I don't know. I know that they were gonna have a Bill Cosby, a whole Cosby thing, but I don't know if they put it up or not. But technically, those two ain't did nothing wrong. Technically, Bill Cosby ain't done nothing wrong yet, according to the law. But we know some shit happened.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Clarence Thomas, but he's the longest running African American Supreme Court justice. So, I mean, I don't like Clarence Thomas. I don't like Thomas Sowell either. I don't like them. They are dudes that white people love.
They're Ben Carson's.
Because it ain't even Ben Carson's. They are far more extreme versions of Ben Carson. At least, but Ben Carson has acknowledged some black folk shit before, in the least. But Thomas Sowell and Clarence Thomas have been so critical of black people. I feel like the way that they communicated, they afraid of their black skin and they hate their black skin. That's how I feel. I don't feel like they would ever say I'm proud of my black skin and my black heritage. I don't feel like they would ever say that shit.
So they're They're Uncle Ruckuses.
Uncle Ruckuses. I mean, yeah, that's what it seems like.
That's really sad.
You know, and so being a Supreme Court justice that feels that way, he's not pushing legislation that will help the conditions of African American people. I think that he feels like he is an exception to the rule. And so I made it. Everybody else can make it. And some people who make it and who are exceptions to the rules of what dictates what your culture is, they make it and they say, I made it, but I know everybody can't make it. I know everybody like me didn't have the opportunities. I know everybody like me didn't have the chances. But some people who make it, like I feel like Clarence Thomas is, they make it and they believe everybody can do it and everybody had the same opportunity. It don't matter about your skin color. The thing is, in America, it's on paper that skin color matters. Whether it's black, whether it's Latino, whether it's Asian, skin colors got Asian Americans incarcerated during World War II through internment camps because of their color, because of how they facial features are distinctly different, and pointing them out and saying you going to this camp. And it's the same thing for brown people, and it's the same thing for Latino Americans.
So why include him? I mean, I feel like if his only contribution is being able to hold this position, but not doing anything positive with the position itself, why include him? Because knowing nothing else about Clarence Thomas, knowing nothing about the things that I know, a young 8-year-old that see his picture amongst a whole bunch of white pictures will be valuable to that kid. Now, when he turned 18 or 19, he might find out, damn, but it's still going to represent something that we didn't have before in an environment in which is the best place to see it. Anywhere else that 8-year-old see Clarence Thomas, it ain't gonna be good. Well, but I don't know that it's fair to just put that in the. I mean, if they're gonna put him in the museum, then they have to put his whole history in there, including Anita Baker.
Well, they're not gonna put his decisions, and they're not gonna put the ways that some of the decisions he helped make have not helped African American community. They're gonna put just his history, how he grew up, and him being a Supreme Court justice.
I don't know.
And I'm not saying that's my answer. I'm not saying that should be done. I'm saying that's the dilemma.
He gets the benefit from, because then he's going to be remembered for being a better person than what he is then.
But the problem is, he don't look at it like that. The truth of the matter is, him as a very conservative individual, he looks at how African Americans should succeed through the lens of Republican ideals. And the way that they believe that black people succeed is you need to be thrown into the deep end and then you need to come out swimming. You know what I'm saying? The problem is we weren't thrown into the deep end of a pool. We were thrown into an ocean, you know, in which you can swim as much as you can, but it's just not going to be easy to get to no edge or no life. You know, they not recognizing the depth to what we're trying to crawl out of, rather than saying you just need to crawl out of it.
But that's what I'm saying. If he gets put in only based on him being the court justice and he, you leave out all of this other stuff, the decisions and everything, he benefits from that. He gets a squeaky clean kind of history, and the kids that learn about him may not learn about that other stuff. If they go to the museum and they see, I mean, they're going to think that he's this role model when he not necessarily is. Him simply being a Supreme Court justice and being able to maintain that position doesn't make him a good role model. The same way just you being a police officer doesn't make you a good role model, because if you're a kind of police officer that's out here being racist as shit, you are not a role model simply off of your position. And so if he gets put in the museum and only the good stuff gets put in there, he benefits. He gets to become this like amazing person that he isn't in real life.
Well, that's the dilemma. And I mean, I'm not saying that he's not a good person. I'm saying that he don't look at black the way black looks at black and the way black should look at black. And he's black. And that's just his own personal thoughts. I don't think he got nothing against black. I think it's the ways that he believes black should change don't align with how black should actually change and how we believe black should actually change. And so the group arguing for his inclusion is one that's saying that, you know, it's been tainted by liberal ideals. You know what I'm saying? So him being a conservative, and as conservative as he is in the position that he is, he hasn't done anything that helps. And so I don't know. But the dilemma is, should we let this man in this prominent position that no African American has held this long and in this situation in here because it is African American history? Or should we exclude certain parts of African American history that we don't like because that individual don't align with what we think he should align with. That's the dilemma. I don't know the answer. I don't like Clarence Thomas. If I walk through that museum and then see him, I won't give a shit. But I understand the argument to include him. So if he was there, I'd understand and walk by that shit quick. But I'd understand. I just don't know. I mean, I guess that's up for debate. And either one day, because the museum is new, I hope this group didn't expect every single black person that's done shit ever to be in the museum in the first opening. But as time passes, more people will be added. You know, more, or maybe they should do just a exhibit on his ass and get rid of that shit. Be like, we got a Clarence Thomas exhibit talking about his life and his accomplishments.
People have said that museum's amazing. I want to go, but like, it's so hard to get tickets because people like, they get sold out so quick.
It'll pass over.
Yeah,
it'll become a museum. It's just,
yeah.
But you got to get on their website and you got to look for them dates. They have some dates. They doing tickets right now for February, March, and April. Oh, yeah. I was gonna get some, but I didn't. I was gonna get some just to get some, yeah. And just in case around that time I was able to go, I go. But I ain't tripping about it.
Let's talk about who I sound like today. I tried to watch that Michel'le movie. I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. Her voice, she narrates it, so you have to hear her voice the entire time. And I can't. I hate her voice. Why does she sound like that? Her singing voice doesn't sound like that.
It's a American Idol. I gotta let you hear this shit. It's not American Idol. The Voice singer. I can't even remember her name now. I just gotta let you. She sung a song so powerful, and her voice afterward is fucking ridiculous.
She's black?
Yes.
I saw it.
You saw it?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Where does that come from?
I don't know, because her singing voice is very deep.
Yeah.
Kind of like, is it Desiree? Was that the name of the singer? Like a 90s singer. Anyhow, yeah, her singing voice is very deep. And then her speaking voice is like this. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, but that's how Michel'le is. But I couldn't. I tried. I wanted to watch it because everybody was talking about it, so that I could talk about it. I fucking couldn't do it. Her voice, and then the girl that plays her in the movie, her attempt to do Michel'le's voice, I fucking can't. It's terrible. Dr. Dre's pissed. I know that. Because he's maintained this whole, every time she's talked about this, he's maintained that he never put his hands on her and that's not how it happened. He admits that they were together, but he says that he didn't, because he punched her in the face and all of this shit. He said that didn't happen. And he's always said that every time this comes up, he says it didn't happen.
That movie ain't proof that it happened.
No, it didn't.
I mean, I ain't the kind of person.
She's maintained her story through the years, like she ain't never changed it.
I ain't the kind of person that's gonna say it didn't happen. He might have whooped her ass, but
I mean,
who knows?
He seems like he could have had a problem with that. Like, I could see it.
I would think that she wouldn't have been the only one. Like, I would just think relationships before her and relationships after her would have all came out and said, yeah, he be whooping folks' ass. So it's just weird. The context of this situation is weird.
The movie's like 2 hours long, and I just couldn't sit there and listen to her voice for 2 hours.
Maybe he did all that shit and then went to a therapist and then changed his whole life.
He got a bunch of fucking kids. You know, he has a ton of kids.
They all look like his ass too.
He got a lot of kids.
He got some strong ass genes.
He has one son with her, but he had kids before she met him, and he's had kids since she's been with him.
He got the money.
But it's like, I don't know. Money isn't all kids need. So while he can take care of them financially, like, can you actively be in all of these kids' life when they all belong to different mothers and they're all spread out, like, yeah, you're gonna be able to take care of them financially, but like your presence isn't gonna be felt by all of them.
Correct.
Because the same shit with Bob Marley kids.
However, if you're gonna be the kid of somebody that ain't shit, it's better to be Dr. Dre than Tyrone Jones.
That's true.
Around the corner.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
I discovered, you know, I watch a lot of YouTube. I discovered this woman. Her name is Strong Mommy Chrissy on YouTube. I hate to see, now I feel like I'm giving her views and I don't want to do that, but this bitch got 7 kids by 6 different men. And the only reason that 2 of the kids have the same dad is that they're twins. And she's only 25 years old. And like the kids are close in age. Like she had a child that was like 6 months old. Then she went and got pregnant by another dude. Like the kids are super close. And all of them, none of them are like above the age of 10.
What the hell is her YouTube channel about?
Being a mama of 7 kids. Just like, cause the 6th child was just born this year. The 7th child was just born this year. She's still with his dad for now, but he don't work. He's in trade school, and her vlogs. She vlogs about her life essentially of like having 7 kids in her house and taking care of her 7 kids. That's what her channel's about.
That's stupid.
How are you that comfortable having unprotected sex with all of these dudes? Like, I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got 7 kids by 6 men. And the only reason, again, that it's not 7 kids by 7 men is that you had a set of twins. So the twins got the same dad. You too young for that shit. Like, and then she made a video explaining why she has 7 kids. I still can't, I don't know, that the video didn't explain shit. I mean, it basically was talking about how she lay on her back. That's about it.
Damn.
Like, she didn't explain anything.
Interesting.
7 kids, 6 dads. And you ain't even embarrassed. You started a YouTube channel around it. Well, actually, when her YouTube channel started, she was the mom of 5 kids by 4 dads. Then it became 6 kids by 5 dads. And now it's 7 kids by 6 dads.
So the last dude, the one that she had the twins by?
No, she had the twins when she started her channel. Because it was 5 kids by 4 dads.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. Unfortunate.
And I mean,
for them kids who all their daddies can't be involved.
They're not. Because how could they? I mean, these ain't shit people that she's getting knocked up by. So, yeah, they're not. I think there's a few of them that are involved, but for the most part, nah.
Sad situation.
It is.
So, for the comic book fans out there, Riri Williams, the blackest ass name that they could have came up with. So Iron Man in the new comic series is going to be replaced by a 15-year-old girl who is a super genius. And when pictures first came out, she was dark skinned. She had a natural hair, holding the helmet. You was like, yes, you know, black woman victory. Not just black woman victory, but dark skinned black woman victory. Well, when the artist, I don't remember his name, actually drew the character, he fucked up. First, he drew her much lighter, and he over-sexualized her. She's a 15-year-old girl who is over-sexualized. Now, women being over-sexualized in comics is normal, and then radical over-sexualization for women and black women in comics is normal. But you're talking about a 15-year-old girl. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't want to see a 15-year-old girl on a comic who wears form-fitting stuff and you can see her stomach and all of that stuff. Now, a part of that is because I am but a member of a society that's over-sexualized. So I'm gonna look at that sometimes as, you know, in a sexual manner, just because of the content. I don't think that it should be drawn like that. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people agree with you.
Yeah, it's a problem. But comics do that all the time. Like, not only comics, but video games.
Oh,
if you got a woman, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
They just got like, y'all know what I'm talking about. We can
ridiculous.
You can look at Soul Calibur. You can look at Tekken. You can look at women characters from any game. It's barely
even
women
the
characters.
Fighting games, like I never understood, like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. Why they so scared? Like if you going into a fight, why you got on like this scantily clad shit? Like it never made sense to me for them to be dressed that way.
Well, you know, when it comes to armor in games, more armor has represent not being able to move as much. Less armor has been represented being able to move more.
But the men ain't dressed like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, the men are dressed. The men that don't have a lot of armor still have on like clothing.
Yep.
But it's no reason for women, even when they're trying to wear light things, to have all of their body exposed.
Yep.
Except for their nipples. You know what I'm saying?
Some of them characters are like, I used to play Dynasty Warriors with my brother. Mm-hmm. Even now, the female characters like have on no clothes and then have like a shield or some shit. It's like, if you're running around this land fighting all these different fucking people, why wouldn't you want to have on some clothes? Like, I just never understood video game women characters. Like, it's always like, I
mean, I understand it don't logically make sense in the context of our societal lens. I understand. The men that are watching this stuff, in a lot of cases, are men that don't see no action. So, hey, let's cater these characters to these groups of men that, you know, essentially sit at this computer desk all day or this game all day, and let's let them get their action through seeing the physical manifestations of women that they want to see in the game. Let's do that. And you know what? That works. Sex sells. It sells everywhere. It sells in commercials. It sells everywhere. But it really sells in video games too.
It's really
It don't make logical sense.
No.
But the same thing for comics. Like, you can't go find a fully dressed Marvel woman. No. And if she is fully dressed, whatever leather she got on going right up her ass to where you can see the identified crease, and you know it's form fitting over her breasts specifically so that they stand out like that, or it got a little hole in the middle where you can see that cleavage. And what is that hole for? That hole is ergonomically not going to help you when the wind is blowing heavily at all. It slow you down. So, but like the problem with this one is that colorism exists.
Yeah, it does.
Like, and I don't know if white people are privy to colorism so much, but colorism is the idea that lighter skin is preferred to darker skin. And this came from the slave days, when there were slaves that were impregnated by the master and they had lighter skinned kids. Those light skinned kids would get privileges over the dark skin.
House slaves.
I mean, house slaves. And so it would make the dark slaves want to be in that position. It would make the light slaves feel higher than the dark slaves because they got all of these privileges, and it created this dynamic in which dark skin has always been shamed. It's always been negative. It's always been something that's not desired. And it's rooted in that cultural time in our society. And you come today and you still have residual effects of that. It's still difficult for a lot of people to accept dark skin. You know, the light skin crazes that's going on where light skinned women are desired. Light skin is on TV. Light skin with curly hair. You barely see, when you see black people places, you barely see dark skinned black people. You know, and colorism don't exist here. It exists in Asia too. You know, darker Asians are looked down upon than lighter Asians.
They like to be pale.
Yeah, like.
But white people, I think, could understand it maybe to an extent, because for them, oddly enough, darker is better, and being really pale is bad, and they get made fun of, and which is why they fuck themselves up in these tanning beds and have this leathery looking skin. You remember Tan Mom? You don't remember Tan Mom? Oh, tan mom was a white lady. She got in trouble because she took her 5-year-old to the tanning bed, but she also tanned herself so much that she almost looked like a black person, but and her skin was so leathery, it looked disgusting. You need to Google her so you can, but don't do it before you go to sleep. You'll have nightmares. But the tanner the better. They want to be as dark as possible, which is hilarious considering how much they hate us.
But the white people still get all the white people privileges, you know, yeah. Because it's certain things that make you and me black, you know.
Well, yeah, I know that. I'm just saying, they understand how a different tone of skin is preferable. Because I have had white friends who were sad that they couldn't tan because, especially redheads, they can't sit out in the sun. They just burn. They don't get that tan color. So they would either have to go to get spray tans, which look orangey, or just be white as shit. I've heard them make comments damn, my legs are so white, you know? So they even within their own culture, there's a difference in the tone of their skin and how it's looked at.
So the comment that the artist made was, he showed the picture of what she was supposed to look like, which was a darker version of herself, and showed what he drew, which was a significantly lighter version, and said, is it really that big a difference? This is what I was asked to draw.
Yes,
it is a big difference. When you are underrepresented in something and you change it and you don't even recognize the change, if you don't recognize the change and it's not that big of a difference, then just do it dark.
Yeah. Do it the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Take other people's word for it that the dark will help. If it don't make a difference, and if you're saying it don't make a difference, then just darken the photo. Under-sexualize the girl. Make her a 15-year-old genius. You know what I'm saying?
Because a 15-year-old genius would not be scantily clad, I can assure you.
She wouldn't be.
Because she wouldn't be worried about those kind of things. She would be focused on her studies, on inventions, on those kind of things.
Yeah, so it's so much shit in our society that we got to fucking get past. It's so much shit that is holding us back and keeping us from moving forward and showing the potential that we have to be as a society. It's just too much. It's too many people in one fucking area with the system that we were created under. A system of exclusion. Our society was created as a system of exclusion that only included a certain small group of people, white people, that brought a bunch of people in for all various selfish reasons, and now we can't even find a way to be inclusive of everybody without bitching about it. Listen, at the end of the day, white is going away, black is going away. Over the course of this history, as our culture still continues to go, everybody's just gonna look like coffee one day. Everybody gonna be mixed with 3 or 4 fucking things, and that's just what it's coming to. I think it's gonna be little bitty ass groups of black people nah, we gotta preserve black. Just have sex with black. And it's gonna be white people that say, nah, we just gotta preserve white. We gotta just have sex with white. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we gotta get this shit together, man. But that's all I got.
Well,
for the situation.
There's also Teacher Bay is going to be in Bingham next week or this week.
Teacher Bay getting some appearance money.
So people are giving her shit again because she's on some flyers for some club appearances in Birmingham. But here's the thing. You know, it's classic weekend. And ASU is her alma mater. And so she's coming because her school, to represent her school. I'm not ready to give her shit for this yet. Now, when she just doing club appearances just to be doing club appearances, I might be more ready to be like, all right, man, you're doing a little much.
Fuck that. Do you know how much money they be giving for them club appearances?
I know, but if she wants to become a teacher, because she's a teacher's aide, if her goal, her career goal, because club appearances and video girling, that don't really go with becoming like a tenured teacher. So for me, it depends on what her long-term goal is, because this ain't gonna help her long-term goal. Being on club flyers, it don't look good. It's not a good look for teaching. So,
well, she ain't doing that.
she's agreeing to it.
Well, she don't. It don't matter. She don't have to agree. They can put her picture on a flyer. And a parent can be like, oh, and they not even see her that night and just be mad.
That's true. But if she's agreeing to it, that means that she's gonna get more offers to do it, and it could be a. It just depends on what her long term goal. Now she might take this and decide that she want to go the route of being a video girl. I don't know.
I just don't see the problem.
Long term goal is.
I don't see the problem because if she wanted to, she's gonna come here for the classic. Go to the goddamn club anyway, do whatever she was gonna do without a flyer, and go home and still be a teacher. I don't see what difference it make if she got her picture on the flyer.
But you don't have to see it. The parents are the ones that are gonna make it difficult for her to continue on. Cause shit, it was the parents who made this into a big old ass thing.
But if her name in tiny letters was on the very bottom of the poster that said "Teacher Bay gonna be here," and the parents just saw her in the club, it'd be the same issue. It could be the same problem.
No, I don't. They have her photo from like when she was in the classroom. That's the photo that's on the flyer. When she had that yellow shirt on and the jeans, it's that photo.
That's because it's classic weekend, HBCU. That's her HBCU.
But that's what I'm saying. This will be fine. But if she continues to do club appearances where there isn't the excuse of it's her HBCU, she's just representing her school type shit, it could cause more problems for her down the line if she's going to try to become a full-time tenured teacher. Like she won't, I would be surprised if she was able to get tenure.
I don't know.
Like I just feel like it ain't, it's the same way with me being a therapist. Like if I was on club flyers and that got out to some of my clients, like my job would have a problem with that. Absolutely.
But she can still go to the club and do everything that she would do in the club. The only variable is if her picture is on a piece of paper.
Because she's promoting the club. If you go to a club the same way I do stuff that I'm not going to promote to my clients, obviously, she's promoting it as opposed to just engaging in it. That's a difference. Because that's the whole thing. It's a club promotion.
I understand. It's just stupid that parents will look at that shit like that.
They will. And then that means that the school board and the administration going to have to look at it too. Because they not going to have these fights with the parents about it. So it just depends. Like, I don't see a problem with this particular one because I get why she did it. Or why she's, engaging in it or whatever. Because I know she went to ASU. So I get it. But
at the end of the day, Teacher Bay ain't the reason your kid ain't gonna be shit. If your kid ain't shit, you the reason your kid ain't shit. Bottom line.
Pretty much, yeah. But that's all I had. I just wanted to mention that because I just thought it was so funny that she's gonna be in the city. I will not be here when she's here, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. You got anything else on your mind?
Thanks again to everybody that watched the video from last week and that asked questions. Yeah. And you can still watch the video. If you weren't able to see it live, it's on our page still. So if you want to watch it, you can.
Yeah, that was our 52nd episode, a year in this thing. If you joined in, appreciate you. If you clicked on it for a second, appreciate you.
Even the people who ask questions after the fact, because we had people that made comments after it wasn't live anymore.
Yeah.
So thanks to y'all too. Anybody who wants to make a comment on it totally can.
So we appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
But that's all we got.
Yeah, I'm gonna go drink some tea.
Please do.
I will not sound like this next week. And thank you for listening, because I'm sure this has been painful.
If you listened. You talking shit about Michel'le and you out here sounding like Michel'le light.
For an episode. This bitch sound like this her whole life.
Listen, if this your first episode listening, she don't sound like this. Go listen to a past one. You'll see how she really sound. Don't let this shit throw your ass off if you wouldn't listen to this shit no more because of that.
I do not normally sound like this. I can assure you. So yeah.
Well, until we come to the next conversation.
We out.
Holla.